Hi, I'm Anne.
And I'm Susan.
We're from Right Creations Group, and we're continuing our series on just favorite books that we pulled off the shelf that are meaningful and inspirational to us. So, you want to share yours today?
I am Faith Hunter. If you do not know her, I highly recommend that you read her. She has three wonderful series out under Faith Hunter. And this one's Blood of the Earth. It's a Soulwood novel. And the main character has this really deep connection to nature and the earth. And that's all I'm going to say because this is the first in the series and you need to travel with her through her journey. I wasn't sure I was going to like her when I started reading this. I kind of grew up and knew some folks like this. Her language is different. She grew up in a cult, and so she had a particular way of talking. She had a particular way of dressing, and that's just different than your norm. And that's one of the beauties of what Faith Hunter does with this character is even though this is a fantasy setting where she gets pulled into working with a group of an agency that kind of polices paranormals and deals with stuff, and she discovers why she has such an affinity to nature. And I mean, I love that she can talk to trees and they can talk back, and that's really cool. But as a person, Faith Hunter does such a beautiful job of developing her from like, what do you want? And holding a gun pointed at someone, don't come onto my front steps type attitude, to along the way going, you know what? Church women don't cut their hair. They let it's never shorter than their waist, and deciding she's going to cut her hair. And since she's getting paid and working for a real job, she's going to get her toes done and her fingers done. And those are just some of the small nuances of change that Faith shows in this character through the book. And as you go through the series, those changes take a deeper root. So if her colleagues say, well, you're a church woman, she's immediately going to be, oh, no, I'm not. But if you, on any given moment, she can instantly slip back into church speak. And you just see the development and the growth as she realizes there is a world beyond what she had been exposed to in this small little cult. And in book one, you discover she's already kind of got a leg out. But as you go along, you see her start taking her stride as she deliberately chooses a life better for herself and who she wants to be. She's reading self-help books. Sometimes she'll quote something from a self-help book to help herself. And for me, I think Faith has just given a gift to the world in showing that any of us, whether we've been in an abusive relationship or feel like we've been in some kind of brainwashing or, whatever, we get to choose. We can pull strength from within ourselves, and it may take a while, but we get to choose who we want to be, and we can author our own life. And, she's just a really cool character. So Blood of the Earth, the Soulwood novel, is this particular series. And then Jane Yellow Rock is the other series that Faith Hunter has going on that's really extensive. And I like someone said the other day that, Jane Yellow Rock is really a kick butt kind of girl, but Nell has their heart. And I thought, that's it. Nell gets your heart because you're rooting for her. You want her to succeed.
Those sound really good.
It is. It is good.
Another author I need to pick up. Well, I picked up a book that couldn't be more different, totally nonfiction. This is Boundaries with Teens, and I love this author, John Townsend, a lot. He has helped me develop as a person. I first picked up his original Boundaries book in high school. I think it was probably my senior year of high school. It was a very good pickup for me because I'm a pleaser by nature. I love to give and to make people happy, and that is a very good thing except when you go too far. So I needed to learn the boundary. He calls it when to say yes and when to say no. And I needed someone to give me permission to say no.
Yeah.
That I didn't always have to do what other people wanted me to do or what they needed. It was okay for me to have a voice and an opinion, and important for me to have a voice and opinion. So it really helped me grow to be a stronger person, and then in turn to teach that through our work and writing and in training to many, many young people and even adults throughout the years. Specifically, this one, Boundary with Teens, I have 4 kids at home. 3 are teenagers, so I am practicing boundaries with teens every day. This book reminds us that teenagers thrive with boundaries, whether you're in a youth group setting or an after-school setting or an educational setting. They need us to set boundaries for them. That's how they thrive as individuals, and definitely as groups. You need to be setting boundaries with your groups. So his boundaries books talk about really practical ways for how you can set those boundaries, and in a firm but friendly and life-giving kind of way, not setting unrealistic rules, but boundaries that help the classroom or help the youth group thrive. So,
Clear limits
and expectations. Like we do a workshop actually on boundaries and helping people, helping organizations set their boundaries with their young people, and it's that.
And I'm amazed when we do the workshop, just as an aside, how many times people have to really wrestle with the boundaries that they were taught and realize that sometimes they're passing on the same thing just because that's the only way they know. Instead of thinking it through in the space I'm crafting with young people, what are the boundaries? What are the values even behind the boundaries? And what do I want to pass on? Not just because that's how I grew up, but because this is what I think is important for young people now.
This is a bit of a tangent, but you're making me think, just as a very practical for that. So often when we were growing up in our generation and the generation before, it was very adult mandated boundaries. Whoever is the teacher or the principal, they set the boundaries and we have to follow. And what we're discovering in research is it's much more powerful if the adults get together with the young people and set those boundaries together. So with wisdom and with experience, but also hearing the voices of young people, that's when your boundaries are going to stick and be honored. There you go.
2 very different books. So, what are the books that have surprised you that you liked? Put it in a comment. A book that you liked, that you were surprised you liked it. Because I mentioned starting out, I wasn't too sure about the character, but now I love that character. So what's a book that surprised you?